I'll go with Troy. I know you're proud of him for a lot of reasons, but let's go back to when he said he wanted to get a job, and he said, I don't want to work for the Braves, and I don't really want to work for the Royals. It's just, I want to do this on my own.
Yeah, I mean, I said, and I told him too, I said, you're going to sell yourself. I can help get you in the door. But he didn't want me to do anything, and he knew the Braves would hire him or Dayton would if he did something with the Royals. And he sent out all the letters. He taught himself Spanish through the Rosetta Stone and was attractive to the Astros.
That just makes what he's done that much more.
Yeah, that's I'm very proud of him. I mean, he went about it the right way. He's always been just a really hard, dedicated worker. And he got his foot in the door, and like a lot of us have over the years, and where he's at.
And on your right, David.
Brian, I know you've been asked about Eddie a lot last week, but I have to ask. When you guys got him, he was injured. You didn't know when he'd play. And also, he'd had some ups and downs in the last couple of years with Minnesota and then Cleveland. What did the organization see in him that made you guys think he'd be a good fit and could help you guys?
Well, like I said, we kicked the tires on him in the winter as a free agent. I know Walt and I reached out to people in the Minnesota organization that we knew. Got great reports on him. It didn't work out with us, obviously, but I think that's probably, can't speak for Alex, but we'd had some interest in him previously, and you look at his track record and what he had done, and we were in need of an outfield boost. So, and he came, like I say, he was hurt when we got him, so we kind of had to let him mend and then go, and kept him on rehab fairly good amount, honestly, just because there wasn't a need, so we were able to. And then he could make sure that everything was good. And then when he came back, he was just playing sporadically because, we had 4 guys. It's like, and I told them, it's like we got 4 everyday major league outfielders. Somebody's probably not going to like me because you just, you can't play. Without the DH, you can't play all 4 of them. So, but all them guys, to a man, were all great. I mean, they all did everything they could to stay ready and do whatever we needed to help win a game.
The third row on the aisle.
Hey, Snit, now that your and Alex's partnership has led to this point, how and why has what you do and what he does, your style and his style, worked so well together?
Because we listen to each other. I don't think either of us has to be right in any situation. And I've really come to really respect his opinion, what he's got. I mean, he's a guy that he's on go all the time, and I said the only thing he's guilty of is never stopping to try to make our club better. But I think the one reason is because like I say, neither of us has an ego, neither of us has to be right. We listen to each other, and then it's kind of a lot of times we'll have conversations, then we'll leave, and then we'll come back a couple hours later, and it kind of you let things sink in, and two, we come to a mutual understanding all the time. I mean, it's good. It's a great relationship. I've learned a lot from him. But it's just, like I say, it's just I think 2 guys were bouncing things off each other, and ultimately we just want to do what's best for the team.
Kelly and then Christy.
A little rudimentary, but the other night, so many emotions as you made it to this point, as you're here today. What is it that's soaking in? What are you taking in? What does it mean? And all that to be here.
Yeah, no, it's been all day yesterday. I roamed the house and was numb. I'm starting to get feeling back in my body and mind and everything. Really just the thought that, my God, we're in the World Series. I mean, and how hard it is to get here. And I never take a day for granted anyway, but this has been kind of surreal for me. And so it's been great so far. I know that. I mean, it'll get hairy, 24 hours, whatever, things will start ramping up. But no, it's been awesome just to think of where we've come throughout the year, and now to put ourselves in this position, it's really, really something special.
Christy and then Dave.
To go back to Troy for a minute, he told me earlier that the best lesson you taught him was the value of work ethic and a good work ethic. And I wondered, sometimes children can teach their parents things. Is there anything that he taught you?
Yeah, I kind of validated the fact that maybe I did something right, the way he turned out. He's a heck of a young man. And he does have a great work ethic. I know that. And in talking to a couple of years ago at the All-Star game and visiting with the Astro players, that was kind of a common theme. It's like trying to tell him back off just a little bit. You don't have to go 100 miles an hour all the time. Yeah, I admire the way he does. You know, I love the fact that he's meshed, because I raised him in a dugout and a bus and on a field, and, you know, a long, long time ago before analytics were ever invented. And so I think he's a good blend of the old school ways of doing things, and he's very open and gets all the new information that's out there. And I think it's a good mix.
Dave in the first row.
Snit, was the timing of Jorge Soler's, if he had to miss for COVID, to miss that series and be back for this one where you're going to need a DH, does it help? And has he had a chance to take live pitching in the last couple of days, or live BP?
Well, he had a really good bat against Kenley Jansen the other day. I kind of said, well, he's okay. You know, he took some prior to coming back, but still, it's not the same thing. I mean, it's you know, but no, he's good to go. You know, so and it's, I guess, I mean, thank God that, you know, we had guys to plug in when he went down. That's the thing. You know, we had 4 of them, so we used all 3, and one of them got really hot. So, but it's good to have him back.
On the right aisle, Emma.
With the evolution of this infield defense, it seemed like there was a point around May or June where you changed your positioning and started shifting more. Can you share anything about that?
Yeah, no, it was. Then there was. I mean, and it was kind of. I think I hand it to our players, Wash, and our analytics and the kids that were putting all that together. I mean, they had a meeting, and everybody kind of talked about their feelings on this thing. And again, nobody was rigid and had to be right. They got together to try and make this thing the best as we could. You know, because there was some things happening that were bothering, you know, a few people, some of the players. Those guys, you're talking about those infielders that all have really good baseball IQs. These guys got great feel, instinct, and they get it. They know our pitchers. They've been around long enough now where they know the opposition, and they had some things on their minds, as well as the people that were putting the cards together. And it was I sat in, it was a great meeting. Everybody it was give and take, and let's talk about this, and it ended up, a really good result. Because like I say, nobody was hard-lined to where they had to be right, and there weren't any egos. Everybody, you know, and everybody was in there for all the right reasons. And I think some of the analytics guys that were doing this learned some things. I know the players they've understood a little more about where they were coming from, and the end result was pretty good.
Do a few more quick ones, Mark.
Snit, with Soler back, is it best to keep Rosario at the top of the lineup? And as you look back on that Dodgers series, was it ever a problem having 2 lefties there paired together? I mean, Urias, as soon as he gives up the hit to Rosario that day, that plan's out the window.
You know, when they're swinging the bat like that, I don't think it matters. With Freddie, when he's going good, with Eddie, I don't think a right-hander with a changeup or something would give him as much trouble as a left-hander. So I don't think it even matters.
Eddie will be at the top of the line.
I haven't decided that totally yet, but there's a good chance.
In the second row here.
Hey, Brian, what kind of interaction have you and Troy been able to have, and might have, and
Yeah.
is he going to tell you how to get Altuve out? Or?
No, it's I don't know if he knows. No, we FaceTimed a lot over these. As a matter of fact, when I come off the stage the other night, he was FaceTiming my daughter, and I got to talk to him. And we talk, you know, as much as we can. We both have unbelievably busy schedules this time of year, and I'll see him this evening when we're done. And because I told him if we don't this evening, we may not, because these are long days and long games, and so there may not be a lot of time. Hopefully he's with his mother right now, I think, spending some time with her while I'm out here. But it's, you know, it's good. And we just talk generalities. I'm not going to pick his brain about that or do that to him or anything, because, you know, quite honestly, tomorrow at 7:09 or whatever, he's going to want to kick my ass, you know. So, I'm sorry? Oh yeah, absolutely. But I don't know. There might be time for a breakfast or something the next few days. I don't know.
Take a couple last ones in the first row.
I want to ask you, because you have lived an earlier life in baseball, are you fascinated by how analytics have taken over to some degree? I'm not saying they've taken over completely, but when you were a young player, could you have ever imagined playing baseball this way?
No, probably not. I mean, because it wasn't there. There's a lot of things that have changed in my evolution in the game that you didn't really. I mean, we didn't have cell phones when I started out. And when I started managing, I don't know how we made moves. I mean, because we're now. I used to tell guys when I was in AAA, it's like you better keep that thing on at night because if I can't get a hold of you, the guy I can is the one going up. So there's a lot of this stuff that is changed, and analytics. I would say analytics is information, and I think it's. In our situation, we don't force it on guys, but it's there. If they have a question, if they want to know something, we have people that'll get it for them. Those guys, they're most of them young, really bright people that are doing that, and they work extremely hard at what they do.
And can I ask a quick follow-up?
Sure.
How's your wife handling the situation?
She's. I don't know that she knows what she's getting into. She had a couple interviews yesterday. And she's been probably more. I'm an emotional guy. She's way more emotional than I am, and but she's proud of both of us and what we've done. And because if it wasn't for her, he or I would be here. Honestly, she's allowed Troy and myself to follow our dream, and we're very appreciative. And she's drug him all over the Southeast after me, my daughter. While she held a job and they played ball and cheerleading and all that kind of stuff. So it was always a family affair when we, Troy bat boy and take care of the umpires and work in the club. I'd go home after games and the clubhouse guy'd bring him home 2 hours later. So he's come by all this naturally pretty much. But it's always been a family affair wherever we went.
And we'll finish up in the first row.
Brian, you guys defeated two teams that were better on paper. Obviously, the game isn't play on paper, but what were the big reasons you got past the Brewers and the Dodgers?
Well, our pitching, which I think this time of year is what this thing's all about. Our bullpen has been just unbelievable. Them guys have just been consistent, and I've rode them hard too. We pitched them a lot, but they all. They answered the phone, they got ready, and they came in and did a job. And, that first series runs were hard to come by, and we knew with their pitching staff that they would be. We got some big hits, late in games, and our defense was really good. But I think overall our pitching was really good in both series. That was a tough series that we just came out of against a team that had a really, really good bullpen. And, we won some couple of walk-offs in Atlanta, but it was just kind of it was tough. But I think our bullpen has been outstanding the whole postseason.
Brian, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.